So picking the right console can be a pretty daunting task, especially when there's so many options. You have the PlayStation, you have Xbox, and then within each of those different brands, you have different variations. And today we're going to be talking about the Xbox Series X and the Series S to see which console is right for you. Now I must admit this topic can be quite controversial because a few people are very passionate about what they think is the best console, but we're going to try and stay as objective and technical as possible in this video in helping you choose the right one for you. And guys, before we get into the video, please consider subscribing to the channel. I post weekly videos around tech and gaming, so don't forget to hit that notification bell to stay on top of all the new content. Now first we're going to start off with the design of the two consoles. Now there is a pretty stark difference between the Xbox Series X and the Series S. The Series X is substantially bigger and has more of a square rectangular prism look to it, where the Series S is a much more slimmed down version. Now the Series X does weigh 10 pounds, the Series S weighs less than half of that. Now in terms of the height and the front facing of both consoles, they're almost identical, but it's the width of the console is where there's a pretty big difference. You can almost put 2.5 Series S's within a Series X, so that just gives you the idea how big the Series X is. And of course, speaking of the front, the biggest difference is that the Series X comes with a Blu-ray disc drive, where the Series S is a digital only console. So if you are someone who likes to collect and use physical media, then the Series X is definitely the console for you. If you plan on only using digital content and subscribing to Game Pass for most of your games, then the Series S is a considerable and great option for you. Now in terms of ports, thankfully Xbox decided to include the same number of ports and types of ports. So for both consoles, you get 3 USB 3.1 high-speed ports, you have 802.11 AC wireless connection, you have a 1 gigabit per second Ethernet port, and you have HDMI 2.1 out for both consoles. And of course, for all you audiophiles, you do get Dolby 5.1 surround sound on both consoles as well. Now next I want to talk about the internal storage for both these consoles. The Xbox Series X comes with 1 terabyte of internal storage. However, only around 830 gigabytes of that is actually usable space. The other 170 odd gigabytes is dedicated for the operating system, whereas the Series S actually now comes in 2 variations. You can get it in 512 gigabytes or also in 1 terabyte if you wish. That is the Black Special Edition. Now for the 512 gigabyte, of that only 378 gigabytes is unfortunately available because the other remainder is also dedicated for the operating system. Now all that being said, both consoles allow you for expandable storage, and that is via an external USB drive that you can use to play older Xbox games. However, if you want to play next gen games and you want external storage, you will have to go with a proprietary SSD that gets put into the expansion slot on both of the Xboxes. Now Seagate as well as Western Digital make these storage expansions, but unlike the PS5, this doesn't give you unlimited options in terms of what kind of SSD you want for expansion. The good news is though, it's simply a card and it's plug and play, so no need to take off the faceplates and use any sort of screwdrivers trying to install that extra storage. Now in terms of controllers, both Xbox Series X and Series S use essentially the exact same controller. The only difference is the color. The Xbox Series X comes standard with the black one, and the Series S, if you get the standard one, comes with the white. Now, in terms of ergonomics, I really love how the controllers feel in my hand. You get a very comfortable grip, and you can game for hours without feeling any issues. And there is a bit of a texture to it, so it's not a flat plastic. So if you do get sweaty hands, the controller doesn't slip out. The only thing I dislike about the controllers for Xbox is they do not come with rechargeable AA batteries, and you do need AA batteries to power them. The alternative to that is you can connect the controller via a USB cable to the Xbox, and you don't need any batteries to play. However, that limits you from how far away you can sit from the console. So if you do plan on using your Xbox controllers and you don't want to go through AA batteries, I suggest getting a rechargeable pack. Now the controllers do come built in with a headphone jack for those of you who like to play online. Another great thing about the controllers, because it is Microsoft, this is native support for Windows computers. So if you do like to game on PC and you end up buying either of these consoles, you can very easily use the Xbox controller to game on your PC through any game you decide to play, and especially the games you can get off Game Pass. The next up is probably the most important part of this video, and what you guys probably want to know, is that is the gaming performance of both the consoles. Now, in terms of specifications, the Xbox Series X gets 12 teraflops of power, where the Xbox Series S gets around 4 teraflops of power. Now, for those of you guys who might not be familiar with this terminology, I'll break it down in terms of the performance of the actual gameplay. So the Xbox Series X supports 4K gaming, where the Series S, the maximum you can get is 1440p, which is around 2.5K. So right off the bat, if you intend on gaming in 4K, then the Series S is absolutely not an option for you. You're gonna have to stick with the Series X. Now, if you're not gaming in 4K, someone who has only a 1080p monitor and don't really care about 4K or even 1440p, then you might want to consider getting the Series S, because you won't be needing all of that power when you do game. Now, with the Xbox Series X, you can achieve up to 120 frames per second, and that is all depending on the title and type of game you are playing, where with the Series S, this is mostly limited to 60 frames per second. With the Series X, you also get a number of other options of individual games where you can decide to play in performance and quality mode, where in the Series S, while these are options that are built into the game, you really want to stick to performance, because otherwise you're often restricted to 30 frames per second, and 30 frames per second in 2023 going into 2024 is a little low for any console in my opinion. Now, while there are differences in performance, the saving grace in all of this is whether you have the Series X or the Series S, Microsoft develops next-gen titles for both of these consoles. So any new game that's released will be available both on the Series X and Series S, and for the most part, and 99% of the time, they are playable on both consoles as well. So you don't have to worry about if you purchase Series S, you won't be privy to the new releases that are coming out. You absolutely will be able to play them. And I've been able to play games, both new releases like Horizon as well as Starfield, on the Series S and the Series X. And to be honest, other than a few differences in texture and some performance, the gameplay is actually pretty consistent and enjoyable. At no point during gameplay on my Series S did I get frustrated or have any issues with loading or performance drop or games crashing. It's a very stable console. Now, of course, that being said, if you had unlimited money and you don't care, you obviously want to go with the best console, that is the Series X. The saving grace here, and as I always say, is that if you're not a true 4K gamer and you're still using an HD screen, then the Series S is probably the console for you, because you're not, number one, you're not really going for the 4K content and you'll be saving money. But the most important part, you'll still be able to enjoy the gaming. Now, another very interesting and very important feature that both the Series X and the Series S consoles have, and that is Quick Resume. Now, Quick Resume allows you to jump right back into a game whenever you want while playing another game. So for example, if you're playing FIFA and you decide to go to the home screen and you want to start off a game that you previously left off, you can jump right into it within 7 seconds. So you don't have to go to the main page and loading screens, etc., etc. And you can do this up to 6 games simultaneously. So you can be playing 6 games on your Xbox, both Series X and Series S, and jump between those games seamlessly. The PlayStation 5 does not offer this, so this is a Microsoft exclusive feature, which was built in great, and the performance is phenomenal in both the Series X and the Series S consoles. So another thing that I like to note, and it's something that's overlooked by a lot of other reviewers, is while these are two separate platforms, the Series X and the Series S, because the games are developed for both consoles, that means cross-platform online play is allowable. So if you're playing the same game online between someone who has a Series X and Series S, you'll actually be able to play online cohesively without any issues. You're not limited to exclusive servers for either of the consoles. Now, while there are some pretty major differences in gaming, it really ends there. In terms of multimedia, both the Xbox Series S and X are almost identical. Both consoles support up to 8K of video output, as long as you have the high-speed HDMI cable, which the Xbox Series S does not come with. And any other streaming platform, you're going to get the same performance. So 4K output for Netflix or any other streaming size is available on the Series S. It's only the gaming that's limited to 1440p. So if you're purchasing a console and your primary intent is multimedia and gaming is secondary, my recommendation is to get the Xbox Series S, because you are saving a considerable amount of money. Another thing that is similar and almost identical between the Series X and the Series S is the online gaming subscription, which is Game Pass for Microsoft. Now, Game Pass, just like PlayStation Plus, it's an online membership that you pay monthly, or you can pay up to a year in advance, and that allows you to play games both online and download exclusive titles right to your Xbox. So new release titles, as well as older generation titles from the Xbox 360, even the original Xbox days, are available through Game Pass. And in my opinion, Game Pass is probably one of the better subscription models, even better than PlayStation Plus, just because of the sheer number of titles available for you. So technically speaking, you could just subscribe to Game Pass and never purchase a game ever again, and you'll probably have enough games to last you a lifetime, or at least until this generation of Xboxes are ruled out and the next generation comes in. Now next I want to briefly touch on the price. Now the regular pricing for the Xbox Series X is $500 USD, where the Xbox Series S is $300 USD. But with Black Friday and even Boxing Day sales, you can pick up the Xbox Series X for as low as $350 US and the Xbox Series S for $250 USD. So when on sale, there isn't much of a price difference, and at that point, if you can get a good deal, I would recommend that you jump on the Xbox Series X. However, on regular pricing, the Xbox Series S is significantly cheaper than its bigger brother. Alright, now to the main question, what console is right for you? So if gaming performance and having the best graphics quality is your number one priority, then the Xbox Series X is for you. It has much more processing time and processing performance than the Xbox Series S. However, if you do not care about 4K gaming and you do not want to shell out $500 USD and you're only concerned about having fun and playing games and you don't care about having the maximum frame rate, then the Xbox Series S is for you. Now, I personally purchased both of these consoles because I wanted to see what the difference was between the two of them. And I actually love the performance out of the Series X, and it really feels like a next-gen console, very comparable to my PS5. But if I could go back and return the Xbox Series X, I probably would and just stick to my Series S. And that's for two reasons. Number one, I play mostly on my TV that is a 1080p or on my monitor that is a 1440p. So I really never play 4K unless I'm in my living room. Number two, my primary gaming source is actually off of my PC. So I'm a PC gamer where the console is secondary. So if you're looking for a secondary gaming device, then the Series S is the best choice for you, and it's the cheaper option. If you want a primary console and you intend to get all your games for the Series X, then obviously that's the one for you. Now, I hope I detailed out the differences and I made this selection and choice for you a little easier. And if you found this video helpful, please don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.